We're live.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the January 26th, 2026 meeting of the University City Council to order at 6:32. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Clay,
Present.
Councilmember McMahon,
Here.
Councilmember Brenner,
Present.
Councilmember Fuller,
Here.
Councilmember Smotherson,
Here.
Mayor Crowe.
Here. Before you, you have the agenda. During the study session, the city manager asked that item K2 be moved from the consent agenda down to the city manager's report. Is there a motion to amend the agenda? Motion made by Councilmember Smotherson. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Fuller. All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there now a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Motion made by Councilmember McMahon. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Smotherson. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Before we begin the meeting, I do think it's important for us to note that this past Friday, the 23rd, was the 56th anniversary of the death of James Bovinglow, who was one of the police officers who gave his life in protection of all of us in this room and the rest of our citizens. Many times we talk about Sergeant Mike King, who many of us knew. This happened before the time of many of us. We simply want to recognize his end of watch that was on January 23rd, 1970. Before you, you have two proclamations, one for Floyd and Cora Henderson, which have been signed, and the condolences to Herman Shaw of the University City School District. You have before you the January 12th, 2026 regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Councilmember Fuller, seconded by Councilmember Clay. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. McMahon.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to take the opportunity to nominate Jeffrey Glogauer to the Traffic Commission.
There's a motion been made. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Clay. Is there a discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. We have no swearings in, I think this past week, everybody stayed in and stayed home, and for the most part probably did tonight as well. We'll now move to our first section of citizen participation. Please note that if you'd like to speak on non-agenda items or on agenda items, there are sign-up sheets over by the door. Please fill them out. Please put whatever agenda item you want to speak to, or if it's non-agenda, just put non-agenda. Then please place them in the basket for the city clerk to then give to us prior to that item being brought up. If they are brought to us after the item has been discussed or has open discussion, then they will not be listened to. Had that issue recently, so just trying to make sure we clarify that. When you come to the microphone, if you please push the button at the bottom, give your name and address, and limit yourself to 5 minutes. I believe right now we only have one person speaking on a non-agenda item, and that is Hannah Brick.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Hannah Brick, and my husband Liam and I reside at 1079 Wilson Avenue. We hope that you, your family, and your neighbors fared well in this wintry weather. Thank you to all the city workers who have maintained the streets and public areas for community safety in this weather. We have not received any updates about the buyout since the last City Council meeting. On Friday evening, the 23rd at 8:10 p.m., I received an automated water alert message from the USGS monitoring gauge of the River des Peres near University City, stating the river was at 21.37 feet as of 7:50 p.m. After the initial shock of this message, logic took over because we experience flooding when the river reaches 14 feet. We came to understand that this reading, later removed from the online data set, must have been an error. Now, it was 4 degrees outside when this reading was taken, so we place no blame on the equipment or the operators for this error. This incident did make me wonder what kinds of regular maintenance and checks are performed on such equipment. For the past several years, we have come to rely heavily on the USGS monitoring gauge as well as the University City flood warning system rain gauges. During flood season, we check both of these regularly during heavy rains to help us prepare for flooding. Given the recent error, I want to make sure that regular maintenance is performed as needed so that we and our neighbors can have accurate, real-time information about our risk level. We remain hopeful and look forward to any other information you can provide about the buyout. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are no other requests to speak at this time on non-agenda items. We'll move forward to council comments. Are there any council comments at this time? Councilmember Fuller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, it was a pleasure to not have a plethora of phone calls regarding street cleaning this past week as compared to what we had last year. So I want to personally make a shout out to all of the folks that made that happen this weekend. And I'm motioning back to Jim. Second point, and this is a very brief point, but I want to set the motion and set the stage of motion here. Councilman Teeman and I have had significant ongoing discussion after council meeting last time regarding follow-up with MSD. And I want to put a point out to the city manager, acting city manager, that we have several concerns regarding the community. I also want to say to the community surrounding that project that we're not walking away from this. And we had some significant discussion, if you will, after the fact with folks regarding several of the points that probably Mr. McMahon brought up most eloquently about what they're going to do for the surrounding individuals as it deals with property value, loss of property value, what they're going to do to the city for the loss of revenue of tax dollars that will go to our schools. The statement that we got from the public relations person was, I think we need to discuss this back to the board. And so my point is, we need to remind them that they need to get back to us. So I want to, as we go through this transition, that's something that we need to follow up on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Briefly on my part, since our last meeting, we lost one of our most engaged citizens that I've had experience with since moving to University City some 30 years ago. This past, probably 2 weeks ago, we lost Margaret Flowing Johnson at the age of 86. She truly was not only a longtime U City resident, but an activist for many causes throughout St. Louis and actually throughout the country. She was born in Des Moines, Iowa, graduated from Kansas State with a master's in math. She was very involved in a number of movements, particularly those involving abuse, particularly of women, from Women's Take Back the Night to Women's Safe House, the creation of that domestic shelter, all domestic abuse, civil disobedience, and LGBTQ issues. She helped found Show Me Equality and SAGE, which is for older members of the LGBTQ family. It was interesting. Chris Kleindies, who owns Left Bank Book, said she didn't always agree with her, but she always knew where she stood. She preferred direct action and civil disobedience. And the quote that reminded me the most, since we have a lot of activism going on across our country right now, as Chris said, if you're in St. Louis streets today as part of your activism, you are standing on Flowing's shoulders. So I hope that all of you will join me in asking that she rest in peace and be dancing with her partner, Marcia Levin, who predeceased her last year, a true activist we have lost this past couple of weeks. Thank you. We have no public hearings this evening. You have before you a consent agenda with one item on it, the Aquatic Center Management Agreement. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Councilmember McMahon, seconded by Councilmember Brenner. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Rose.
Honorable Mayor and council members, this first item asks that you consider the TIPS contract 23010402 specialized pre-construction and construction services for recreational facility improvement, Exhibit A, technical specifications PRP 2026 001 in the total amount of $575,000 for Heman Park Athletic Court renovations. We have interim Parks and Recreation Director James Kriske here to present this item.
You'll need to hit the button at the bottom. Thank
I
you.
will start all over then. Thank you. Good evening, everybody, Mayor and City Council. As Gregory had mentioned, I'm here to introduce the bill to approve the agreement for it's called a TIPS agreement, but it's the agreement to complete the project that was initiated through the Parks and Recreation grant that we received from St. Louis County. So the full amount of the grant was $575,000. And that amount is the exact amount of what the contract will be to complete all of the construction that will complete the 3 pickleball courts, the 3 new basketball courts, and then also set up the foundation and the pad for the mini pitch that will be installed along with these other improvements. The agreement is with Burns and Jones Construction, who has also has done a lot of work here in the city. They've done a lot of work in the St. Louis area, and they're very recognized for their sports construction activities and their work that they've done in the area. So we're very happy that we're working with them. They were involved in the very beginning when this project was first introduced. They were the ones that helped to do the design and the engineering work and set us forward so that we can get the grant through St. Louis County. So I'm here to answer any questions you might have. I don't want to go into all of the details because you probably already know that. But if you have any specific questions, I am more than happy to answer them.
Councilmember Smotherson.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Crowe. Is it Mr. Crispy?
It's Kriske, but
Kriske.
I'm used to whatever
Kriske.
pronunciation.
Kriske,
Jim
okay.
is really
fine.
preferable, though.
That's fine. Thank you, sir. Just a quick question, because I read through the information about the addition of the soccer pitch and the pickleball court and the improvements to the basketball court. But what I'm actually looking for is, what is the finished product going to look like? Meaning, what is going to be, I mean, you're just not just going to place these things on the lot. Meaning, what is the finished product going to look like? Is there going to be new concrete, new walkway around these this new addition to the park? I did see where we're making sure that there is sod that is going to be replaced. But again, are there benches? Are there anything other than the water fountain that I saw that I read is going to be added? But again, what is the finished product going to look like? Because with the renderings, as you can see, it just doesn't really give me any indication of what this really is going to look like as a finished product.
Yeah, and I have the exact same rendering with you
Right,
as
right.
you do, and I will agree that it's not as detailed as it should be. So the existing old basketball courts, those will be renovated. They'll remove all of the and grind up the existing asphalt. Will repave that with a new, I think it's 2 or 3 inch cap or course on top of the existing one. That will turn into the 3 pickleball courts. And then on the farthest side of that will be the installation of where the mini pitch will go. On the other side of that, there'll be the creation of 3 new basketball courts. That will be, from scratch. So that'll be graded accordingly and engineered. And then there'll be, all of the proper concrete and asphalt that will go to the new basketball courts. So that it'll be fenced. The mini pitch is a standalone facility that will have its own fencing and what am I trying to say? The field, the court that'll be on there won't be on asphalt. It'll be their own finished product. So they'll have their own type of court that'll go on it with all of the fencing that'll go around it. As for the final product, when it comes to benches and landscaping and such, that's going to be something that we're going to have to do when the project is done and completed. We'll have to put in the different benches and landscaping, whatever else. There is a concrete walkway that will interconnect all of the different facilities. But there is going to be some work that internal staff will have to do once completed.
Okay, all right, not this construction crew.
No,
The staff is gonna actually.
no,
take
no,
care of it. Okay.
they will prepare the site and do the construction for the
Right.
different facilities. But when it comes down to, the final finished product, which includes what I would consider the landscaping and some of the amenities like benches and that, will be responsible to do that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Any other questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Councilmember McMahon, seconded by Councilmember Fuller. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Rose.
Honorable Mayor and council members, Mayor, I would ask that you introduce this first item up under the city manager's report.
Did I do?
Legend.
Thank you. This evening, we are pleased to be joined by two of our area legislatures, one of which who has the esteemed history of being a member of this body previously. And I would like to introduce State Representative Jeff Hales, who would like to give a legislative update.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's good to be back, second meeting in a row. I'm glad this one's under different circumstances than the last one with MSD, but that was interesting as well. I hope you don't mind, Mr. Rose. I have a +1 tonight. So my update, legislative update primarily is I'm hoping to get through, been talking to people in the House as well as my Senate partner, Mr. Williams, the ability to put a hotel tax on the ballot, given that we're getting our first hotel. The real purpose, and this is frankly very important to me. I had the absolute pleasure with serving with most of you and serving in this body for almost 7 years. I never thought I would do that. I certainly never thought I would do this, but it is with an extraordinary sense of honor and privilege to present Mr. Rose with a resolution from the House of Representatives in the state of Missouri. And I will try to be quick, although it's rather lengthy. Whereas Gregory Rose, City Manager of University City, will officially retire effective February 6, 2026, marking the conclusion of a distinguished 30-year career in public service, including 2 leadership tenures in one of St. Louis County's largest and most diverse suburbs. And whereas a stalwart leader, Gregory Rose has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to transparency and communication throughout his career. And he has been hailed for his strength and reliability during 3 natural disasters that included 2 floods and 1 tornado that ravaged the city. And whereas over the last 8 years, Gregory Rose has guided University City through one of the most transformative periods in modern history, advancing major redevelopment, critical infrastructure improvements, financial stability, and community resilience, and has ushered in a landmark $211 million development effort that has redefined the Olive Boulevard and I-170 gateway. And whereas under his steadfast leadership, Gregory Rose has advanced long-awaited upgrades to essential public facilities, including permanent headquarters for the University City Police Department after more than a decade of operating out from temporary trailers, and in a new permanent home for the University City Municipal Court, both of which will restore stability, efficiency, and professionalism to fundamental services. And whereas, after a storied career in public service that has earned him widespread respect for integrity, operational excellence, fiscal responsibility, and commitment to inclusive community development, Gregory Rose will now devote time and energy to his family, who supported him throughout a demanding tenure marked by long hours. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the Missouri House of Representatives, 103rd General Assembly, join in expressing our utmost appreciation to Gregory Rose for his 3 decades of distinguished public service, including his impactful and dedicated service to University City, its citizenry, and those who serve. And be it further resolved that the Chief Clerk of the Missouri House of Representatives be instructed to prepare a properly inscribed copy of this resolution for Gregory Rose as a mark of our esteem for him. It was my honor serving alongside of you and with all of you that I served with. With that, I will turn it over to Senator Williams.
Senator, we're glad to have you here this evening.
Yeah, it's good to be here. I'm going to be a lot shorter than Representative Hells. I do want to say I'm not only coming as someone who's proud to represent this community in the Missouri Senate, but also live here. And as a resident, I can't speak to the magnitude of how proud I am to say, not only that I live here, but this is a community that I'm proud of because of the work that you all do. And that work has also been possible because of Gregory Rose. And today I wanted to also acknowledge your service to this community, this region. You've worked very close with me and my office over the years, and I can't put into words how helpful you have been to navigate so many things early on in my career, and now today it's not only an exciting opportunity for your family, but a very bittersweet day for University City. With that, I do want to present you a resolution on behalf of the Missouri Senate, which would not only acknowledge your tenure here at University City, your dedicated 30 years to public service, including 2 leadership tenures in one of St. Louis County's, as Jeff said, largest and diverse communities. For those who are not familiar with my district, I represent roughly 46 other cities. So I have a front row seat to see exactly where University City lines up with so many different communities throughout our region and our state. And I would be remiss if I did not say that University City has become a first-class city, not only because of its council, but clearly because of its professional staff. Within its retirement, Gregory, I do hope that you look forward to spending more time with family, which has allowed you the opportunity to represent this community and so many residents behind me, and as well as enjoy the pleasures of something that I don't think we get to do much in public service, and that is time for yourself and other endeavors that's not always in respect of enhancing the quality of life of others. And also, I want to, on behalf of the members of the Missouri Senate, 103rd General Assembly, applaud the accomplishments garnered thus far in your life and the work. And I want to join in on congratulating you on your retirement in public service. And this will come from not only my colleagues in the Senate, but the Secretary of Senate will properly inscribe a copy of this resolution, not only for your presentation, but in the records in the Missouri Senate here in the state of Missouri. And that was signed and adopted in today as Senate Resolution number 553. And again, congratulations. Thank you for your service and thank you for your friendship. And if it's okay, if the mayor can get his phone out and take a picture.
Look. Thank you very much. We have one more request to speak, I believe, at this point in time. That would be Michael Alter.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, Mr. Mulligan, City Manager Rose. I came here tonight on a very cold night to express my appreciation for all the hard work that Mr. Rose has done on behalf of University City. I'm the owner of Fitz's. In the past, I have been president of the LSPD. I'm now vice chair of the LSPD. And over the course of my career here on the street, I've spent most of my adult life on this street. I feel the street would not be what it is today without the time, effort, and commitment City Manager Rose has put in. He's been a great partner for our street. He's been a great partner for the city of University City. He's going to be missed by me personally. I know I speak behalf on members of my board, how much we appreciate all the time and effort and commitment you have done on our behalf. And we wish you nothing but happiness and success, time with your family, and yeah, you will not be forgotten for all the wonderful things you've done on behalf of the city and what you've done on behalf of the Loop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alter. Thank you. We will now move forward with the agenda on item number L2, EDRST funding C-17 commissary project. Is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Councilmember McMahon. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Smotherson. Are there questions? Is anyone wanting a presentation, or do we? I'm trying to make sure. No. Okay. I believe we have some questions coming up. Correct. We have a motion. Watching everyone. We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? I believe there is discussion. Thank you. Councilmember Brenner.
Thank you, Mayor. And my question, which I asked was, do we have some indication that this project will take into consideration runoff so that it will hopefully improve the lot from where it was previously and decrease runoff into our river to Pear?
Honorable Mayor, Councilmember Brenner, I believe we have the developer or a representative for the developer here and would ask that individual to come to the podium to respond to your question.
Sure. All we ask is that you push the green button and give your name and address before you get started. Thank you.
Sure, Your Honor, members of the council. My name is Brandon Harp, president of Civil Engineering Design Consultants, 10820 Sunset Office Park, St. Louis, Missouri, 63127. I'm the civil engineer of record regarding the site development design for this project. What I can answer your question is that we've complied with all of the city's stormwater ordinances, specifications, the Metropolitan St. Louis Sewer District ordinance and specifications, and as well as St. Louis County. Also have MSD approval, St. Louis County approval, MoDOT approval. And so we've addressed stormwater following all of the ordinances that are under the authorities having jurisdiction for this piece of property.
Can you tell me any specifics on how you're managing that?
Well, the site, as you know, was fully developed prior to us coming in with this development plan. So we've added some additional green space on landscaped islands in the interior part of the property, which is permeable, which helps reduce runoff. Where our connection point into the River de Pear is the same location as it is today. We have an underwater proprietary BMP for stormwater quality that's a part of this project. So again, we're using an existing storm sewer system that discharges into River de Pear. We're adding some additional green space on the property. We're addressing water quality with a proprietary underground BMP system. And again, following the ordinances of the city, MSD, St. Louis County, and MoDOT.
Any other questions on this matter? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rose, CALIP funding.
Honorable Mayor and council members, this next item asks that you provide direction regarding the CALIP funding application and identify any necessary changes, and also direct staff on how how you would like us to proceed. Included in your packet was information related to minutes that surfaced regarding final actions that were taken by the now defunct Callup Commission. And so I would like to get your direction on how you would like for us to use that information in regards to I guess dispersing the remaining funds.
Is there any member of any member of staff speaking other than you, or how?
We
Otherwise,
have
we'll
Chris
jump
that
right
is-
into questions. I know we have one citizen comment as well.
Deputy City Manager Chris Crable, did you have any additional information to share? Okay.
Are there questions from members of council? Councilmember Smotherson?
Oh, thank you, Mayor Crowe. Mr. Rose, one of the things that I, as the former council liaison for Callup, I just wanted to address 2 points, and that is, number one, Callup's last recommendation was to, and I'm hoping I got this correct, and that is to donate $50,000 to the high school and to that fund. And Lisa can help me with this and what the specific fund is, but this was for the high school students. So I'm wondering, as part of what we do tonight, is if we could in fact make that recommendation. Do we need to vote on that tonight? Is that the direction you're kind of looking at? And then that's what I'm asking.
There-
Okay, and that's what I want to
There's
clarify.
no, no vote tonight on,
Okay,
on any
okay.
funds.
That's fine. Okay, so again, part of the recommendation was $50,000 to the high school for students. And what I would actually suggest is, and again, the other part of Callup's recommendation, and it's really up to the council, but part of that recommendation was to have Arts and Letters take over the fund and then distribute that as needed, because Arts and Letters is already set up to actually handle something like Callup right now, because Arts and Letters for 40 years handled the Levy Fund, which was our public arts program with WashU. So again, that would be my recommendation. I believe, and I did look through the application process, the application is fine. My only recommendation is to move forward with Callup's previous recommendation to the council.
Mr. Clay?
Thank you, Mayor Crowe. To Councilman Smotherson's point, I too understood, based on the information I've received, the last action of Callup to set aside funds for the high school programming and arts and letters. What from a process perspective would it take to actualize those two actions, which we know? Again, I know there's additional funds. An application has been developed. I too am fine with that. But what would it take to move that forward? That which we, seems to be already voted on by one of our bodies.
Well, but a motion, a body such as Callup that makes the recommendation is simply a recommendation to this body. We have been presented with a number of entities that have requested funds. So I think that you guys may be racing to a point that we're not racing to yet. I don't think that it's the council's intention to abdicate its responsibilities to Callup as simply rubber stamping their recommendation. I think we had a number of entities that have come to speak to us over the past year or so about wanting funds. So I'm just trying to figure out, this process was something that we asked for as a council for staff to put together, which was an application for entities to be able to apply for these funds, is what I recall. And now you're asking us to simply go by what Callup wanted and then give the rest of the money to Arts and Letters to administer?
Well, it's my understanding. So we take recommendations from our boards and commissions regularly. So this is a recommendation coming from a board or a commission now defunct. What is the process? Do we need to vote on that? like we would a recommendation from any other board or commission.
I don't believe, someone's got to help me with the history here, because I recall Calip made a recommendation and then we asked then for the staff to develop applications for people to be able to apply for these funds. And my colleagues that were here during this period of time, unless I'm missing it, that was what we requested of the staff.
Well, there's a corpus, correct? What's the total amount that Calif had? Because the 50,000 is just a portion of it, correct?
Honorable Mayor and council members, the total amount that remains in the CALIP fund is approximately $154,000.
So what I'm understanding is of the 154, you had 50 that one of our commissions had recommended go to this high school program. So like other boards and commissions who make recommendations, it seems like, I don't know, by some mechanism, we vote on that. The remaining 100 agreed needs to go through some sort of application process and entities can apply for those funds.
Well, the only thing I would say is if that is the direction you're going, that's going to be an action that the council is going to have to take at some point in time, because I don't believe that we had ever reached an agreement that we were going to simply follow Calip's recommendation to give 50. Not that I'm opposed to it. It's simply that that's not where we were on this. I think tonight's discussion is about the application itself for those entities that want to apply for those funds. Tonight is not an agenda item for voting. It is a discussion about the application for these funds. Am I saying this correctly, Gregory?
Honorable Mayor, the agenda item was presented consistent with the direction that I had received from the mayor and council. And tonight presents you with an opportunity. If you want to change that direction, then I need to know that tonight. But that's the reason that the application was draft prepared.
Thank you. Councilmember Brenner, you've had your light on longest.
Thank you, Mayor. So just to clarify what the 50,000 was, it was for an endowed scholarship that would be distributed in $2,000 awards per year. That's what that 50,000 was for. So we're very clear on that. And at that time, I was the school board representative on Calip, and we were told that that was going to happen, but then there was a communication drop between the commission and the council, and it never, I guess, got approved by council. So that's where that history was. And I personally think all the paperwork was developed for that scholarship fund. It was very professionally done. And I know it's been updated because I talked to Dr. Hardin Bartley about that at one point. And I would think making them go through a process again, it was a very frustrating process to start with, and would like to see the council move forward on that piece, just to get that piece done. And if they agreed with it, I mean, of course, the council could vote that portion of the money down. So if they agreed on it, but I would like to move forward on making that happen. The second part is that with the actual application, I do have a recommendation that if we use that application, that we need to put somewhere in there a statement of what the original Calip funds were supposed to fund, and maybe one question on that, on how their proposal would relate to that original intention of the money. That was just one suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Smotherson.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor Crowe. I do remember when we talked about the application and putting the application process together, but I didn't know that this was going to be, the application process was going to be handled by the council. And if that was my misunderstanding, then I apologize. I misunderstood that. Again, I do understand that Calip was only making a recommendation. And so all that I'm asking the council to address, and again, not at this meeting, but is to address the recommendation, which we have never done, And that is the last recommendation that was made by Caleb. So if there's $104,000 left, the council can, of course, not follow that recommendation, but I'm just simply asking that the recommendation be addressed, because that was what was the last thing that was actually done in reference to Caleb. I also agree with Ms. Councilmember Brenner in that I would like to move the $50,000 recommendation by Caleb and move that forward if that's possible.
Councilmember McMahon.
I'm just trying to go back. I was one of my first liaisons was to Caleb, and I'm trying to go back, and my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, so it's more of a question, but when Caleb would give out their grants, I don't recall them coming before council for approval. This is different than a grant. They're faced with a decision of how they're going to wrap up their business, and so this is different. It goes beyond the scope of their recommendation. They had the money. They could give out grants to make a movie. That was my understanding. Those movie grants didn't come before council for approval. So they do have a different process for this because it's something that's never been done before. Caleb never had to go away because they lacked an ongoing revenue source. So I don't know if that fits the same dynamic. That's why the whole thing fell in our lap, because we had to figure out how to wrap up Caleb. So to say we're going to go back to a recommendation, we'd have to go see it. Is that a recommendation they could even make the council on how do they wrap up their business? So that's a process question I would have. Is that appropriate?
We do have a citizen who's wanting to speak on this. So I think everybody's had a bite of the apple or a couple. Mr. Reuter, would you like to make your comments? And thanks for coming out on a cold night. If you'll hit the green button and give your name and address, we'll go forward.
Rick Reuter, 365 Mission Court, University City, 63130. Congratulations, Mr. Rose. I wish you very well for all your service. I was the last president of Caleb. There was miscommunication at the end of Caleb in that a ball was dropped. A couple of balls were dropped, actually. When we closed Caleb, we were told as a commission that there was only $58,000 left in the Caleb fund. Had we known that there was 154, it would have never been closed up. We did meet and we did determine that $50,000 of that money, the last $50,000 we thought should go to a scholarship for video, because that was the purpose of Caleb to begin with. That would be an ongoing scholarship to last for 25 or 30 years. I still believe that. They found the minutes. It was all done properly. And to Mr. McMahon's point, and Mr. Smotherson, who both were liaisons, we never had to present anything to the council to get approval when we did grants. So when I resigned from Caleb and Caleb was closed, defunct, no one ever said that there was an issue with this. All of the paperwork was done properly and it fell through the cracks. Also, I'm curious as to where $100,000 showed up after we had closed. I believe it was probably to grants that had been given, but the people disappeared on or didn't fulfill. I would like to say that I hope you will all fulfill the scholarship. Also, as far as future Caleb funding goes, I've looked over the application. I think that Ms. Brennan has a valid point. There are a number of things that I don't think are correct in the application for an application process for these kind of funds that go against the Caleb and the Arts and Letters, which I served on for a year, for a lack of a better word, morality, intention. I would put forward that as a person coming out to speak who's been on both commissions, what I would like to see is not necessarily that the funds go to arts and letters. I've been on that commission, but I would like to see the application involve, first of all, not allowing corporations to have this money. And second of all, that when somebody comes forth with the for money, they have to have other funding coming in or show other sources of funding, that it's not 100% CALIP money going to it. And that would be if it's a film project, if it's an event, if it's a public project, because right now Arts and Letters only has very limited funding. And for a year, I have tried to get the council to approve that Arts and Letters can get sponsorships for their concert program and stuff outside of the city. And I've never heard anything about it. I think with the CALIP funds, I think that they should be tied to organizations or individuals who can match the funding so that it's not just, here's your check, and then they disappear. That's pretty much all I have to say. I will take any question anybody has about how the CALIP Commission worked, because I was the president of it for a couple of years.
I think that, we appreciate that. And I think that staff will probably check in with you as well, because you probably do have a history on that. I don't know. I think all of us served as the liaison to CALIP at one point in time in the many years that we've been here. But I appreciate also the insight that you've given us as to the final actions and as to the workings of CALIP. Thank you. I think Councilmember Smotherson is next, I believe.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Again, to Councilmember McMahon's statement, I did want to say that Arts and Letters works the same way with the Levy Fund and the public arts. And that is that when Arts and Letters chose the public art from WashU, there was nothing that they had to report to the council. I mean, they made the decision on which art pieces they wanted. And that was the process that they took. Again, this council can actually make the decision on how you want to proceed. I was just following up with what CALIP had, the last recommendation that CALIP had made. And that's all I was just giving as the council liaison. So thank you.
Councilmember Clay.
Thank you, Mayor Crow. So to the city manager, based on this conversation, do you have the direction you feel you need to take the next step? Whatever that next step
Well,
may
I
be.
don't know that, Honorable Mayor, Councilmember Clay, I don't know that you as a body have changed direction. It seems to me that you're still wanting to proceed with the application process and to distribute that application to those agencies that indicated a desire for at least a portion of the funding. In doing so, it doesn't exclude the school district from receiving the $50,000. It very well could mean that, they will end up receiving the amount that was recommended by CALIP. They just will need to go through a different process. But in doing so, it could have very well been requested anyway, which is for council to be briefed on each of the projects that's being proposed. So, Councilmember Clay, does that answer your question? And that's why I brought it to you, that if you want staff to switch directions, then I would need to know that.
Okay, I think I understand. I'm not,
Can I help you?
I think I understand, but to Councilmember McMahon's point, I think, yes, if we could go back in time, we might have closed down this commission that has dollars differently. And I think certainly today we would undertake a different process. And I think the communication afterwards would be far more robust. I worry a little bit about, and this is one of the few times I'm going to get to say this from this dais, that we're making the perfect the enemy of the good. What we have from CALIP are minutes and a properly recorded vote. That to me seems sufficient, but I mean, if it is the will of my colleagues that we have the school district go through an additional process, I guess so be it, but it seems like we have enough to make a good decision. It seems like it seems a little bureaucratic, but again, I defer to my colleagues on that.
If I could maybe guide this along a little bit, I think since we've all heard that many accolades for Gregory tonight, we know this is his last city council meeting with us, so we're going to have a little bit of a transition going on here. I think we recognize that. So I think we know that there's going to be some bobbling. My only request in this, and it may be totally different from everybody else's, is that and we'll use the 154,000. Mine is that this is not 154,000. At some point in time, we are still sitting on 80,000 that we're rolling out here, there, and yonder. I would like for this money to be out and about and done, so that, too often when you get the golden goose, and this is a golden goose that evidently is bigger than we thought a long time ago. When you get I realize it's a small number, but it's still, this is something that to me, we need to work through and get it done, and get it done probably this year, so that we can move off of this and not take this away from other things that probably have a greater impact on our community. So my guess is, whether any of us like it or not, that when we leave this meeting tonight, there's going to be conversations with probably Gregory and Brooke and staff as to next steps, because we recognize that there's some gray area here. I would tend to agree with Mr. McMahon that when you're winding down a commission and they've got that much money, it's probably the city council's role to step in and say where it goes, because we're probably the final say on that. I don't necessarily have an opposition to the money going to the school district. I do have questions about us giving this to another commission to dole it out, because I would simply rather us go through an application process and move the money out and be done with it. So with that, that's just kind of my 2 cents. I know Councilmember Brenner's got her light on.
I just want to concur with Councilmember Clay that I would like to move forward on the school district part of it. We can do the application for the rest of it.
Okay. Councilmember McMahon.
Yeah, I would just agree that including in the application the original intent of CALUP and why they would give out grants, as well as matching funding, are great ideas to include in that, so that not that they would be dispositive or kick anybody in or out, but if they could put that in their application, it could be something that we weigh as part of our decision. Do we get a bigger bang for our buck if we go with choice A than choice B? And is it also going to meet what was originally designed for this money? Something, we could have a great project that doesn't fit the bill, but we love it so much, we're going to give them that money. Or it could be the other way. But I think just having that information on the application, that makes sense to me.
Councilmember Smotherson.
And I just simply wanted to concur with Councilmember Brenner, Clay, and McMahon in that let's move this forward. And but I would like to see the 50,000 go to the school district. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are now going to move from L to unfinished business. We have before us bill number 9578. Let's see, do I have to do an amendment now?
Yes.
I would like to turn to the city manager, please. I apologize, the city attorney. You're welcome to speak too, Gregory, though. It's your last night. You can do whatever you want to, pretty much. It's your last night. John.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. With respect to bill number 9578, after the introduction and first reading of this bill, the lender in this project had requested certain relatively minor revisions. Those are in the packet in the 2 exhibits that have been revised for your consideration. The 2 exhibits are B, which is a trust indenture, and D, which is a lease agreement. If the council is so inclined to accept the revisions, then a motion to amend bill number 9578 to include the revisions requested by the lender subsequent to the introduction of the bill, as included in the amended bill on file with the city clerk and in the city council for this meeting may be made.
Is there a member of council that would like to make the motion as read by the city attorney? Motion made by Council Member Clay, seconded by Council Member McMahon. Is there discussion on the amendment? Hearing none. I believe we have to have a roll call on this one as well. No, I can do it by vote. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. You now have before you bill number 9578. May we, as amended, may we have the second reading?
Bill 9578, an ordinance authorizing the city of University City, Missouri to issue its taxable industrial revenue bonds 8021 Olive Boulevard Project, Series 2026, in a principal amount not to exceed $8 million for the purpose of providing funds to pay for the cost of acquiring, constructing, and improving a facility for an industrial development project in the city, approving a plan for the project, and authorizing the city to enter into certain agreements and take certain other actions in connection therewith.
Thank you very much. May we have the third reading of the bill as amended?
Bill 9578, an ordinance authorizing the city of University City, Missouri to issue its taxable industrial revenue bonds 8021 Olive Boulevard Project, Series 2026, in a principal amount not to exceed $8 million for the purpose of providing funds to pay the cost of acquiring, constructing, and improving facility for an industrial development project in the city, approving a plan for the project, and authorizing the city to enter into certain agreements and take certain other actions in conjunction therewith.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Council Member Fuller, seconded by Council Member McMahon. Is there discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember McMahon,
Aye.
Councilmember Brenner,
No.
Councilmember Fuller,
Aye.
Councilmember Smotherson, Councilmember Clay,
Aye.
Mayor Crowe.
Aye. The bill is passed. We'll now move forward to bill number 9579. May we have the second reading?
Bill 9579, an ordinance approving a final plat for a minor subdivision of a tract of land to be known as Purdue Avenue Lot Split.
May I have the third reading?
Bill 9579, an ordinance approving a final plat for a minor subdivision for a tract of land to be known as Purdue Avenue Lot Split.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve? Motion made by Councilmember Smotherson. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Fuller. Is there discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Brenner,
Aye.
Councilmember Fuller,
Aye.
Councilmember Smotherson, Councilmember Clay.
Aye.
Councilmember McMahon,
Aye.
Mayor Crowe.
Aye, the bill is passed. We have no new business this evening. Are there any reports from members of council regarding the commissions that they are the liaison to? Councilmember Brenner.
Thank you, Mayor. This is somewhat related, but it's also to say to the constituents that there has been a forestry proposal developed for Pershing. And since we're moving so fast, which is wonderful, that hopefully we'll have spring planting. And I requested for that to be placed in a public, like on the website, so that people can look at it if they would like.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, are there any more requests to speak?
There are none.
Thank you very much. Before we go into executive session, are there council comments this evening? Councilmember Smotherson.
Thank you, Mayor Crowe. Just very briefly, I wanted to just make a statement, and that is that about in 2016, a group of residents and 2 council members were meeting to talk about bringing investment to the 3rd Ward. The names of those people were Phyllis, Kathy Stratman, Barb Heist, Rosalind Williams, myself, and Paulette Carr. That was 10 years ago. And that fund is now the revitalization fund for the 3rd Ward. I'm making that statement to say that it's time. It's time for that fund and the coordinator that we've now hired to actually start putting in place some actions and promises that were made 10 years ago. And one of the actions that I'm actually asking for our coordinator now to address is that one of the things that I've been called about, there are people that are actually selling their houses. And one of the promises was to try to address the rental property versus home ownership issue that we're having in the third ward. And what I'd like to do is like to see our coordinator actually announce to the third ward that anybody that's selling a house to please notify the city so that we can help them through that process of inspections. Because one of the problems that people are having is that they don't like the process that exists right now. I'd like to try to make that improved so that it's an easier process and a more attractive process so that people will not look for investors to just pay them outright, and then that property turns over and becomes rental property. So again, one of the things that we started 10 years ago was how do we address the rental property versus home ownership? And I think this would be a good way to start because this is because that was what we promised years ago. And I'd like to see that put in place so that we help them look at selling those houses for home ownership. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there other comments from members of council? Councilmember McMahon.
Thank you, Mayor Crowe. I'll try to be brief. As this is Gregory's last meeting, we could just stretch it out as long as possible, but I'll try to be brief. When I ran for city council back in 2016, my goal was that we would have some change in University City. And soon thereafter, we set in place events that would call for us to find someone like Gregory Rose. And one of my, I think one of my early votes and things that I was most proud of is that we did, in fact, hire Gregory Rose. And that when we interviewed folks and did that search, we were very proud to and happy to find someone that stood out above the others, and that was Gregory Rose. At that time, we were at a certain point and we knew that we wanted to go in a different direction and we wanted to move forward. And we couldn't have done that just as a council, just as our individuals. We needed a professional guiding hand. And that's what Gregory Rose brought to the table. And we were so fortunate to do that. And in my naive understanding of things, I thought that was our job and we got it done. But what I've now realized is we've placed ourselves in a little bit of a hole because Gregory has set the bar as we now search for his replacement very high. And that will be something that I will have to now think about more deliberately than I did the first time I voted to hire a city manager. And that's a tribute to all that you did for us, for our community, and made my job here as a councilman easy. You showed no favoritism to anybody here. There were no favorites. Nobody got more information than anybody else. You treated us equally so that we could do our jobs, set policy, and you executed it diligently and as needed. And I was also very proud of you. And I think it came out in one of your emails today about snow removal. We're not perfect yet, but you always strived there. Always. That was the North Star. We would get there eventually. We may not be there today, but you kept us in that direction. And I was always telling constituents when they called, let us know the problems because we want to make it better. That's what Gregory Rose wants us to do. And so I am so proud to have gone through this with you. And I am so happy that you get to move on to the next part of your life in whatever that may be. Thank you, Gregory.
Councilmember Clay.
Thank you, Mayor Crowe. Councilman Smotherson did reference some 10 years ago the origins of what is now Markets at Olive. And I think if that were the only accomplishment, Mr. Rose, during your tenure, that would certainly be enough. But I think it's also important to look at some of the other developments that have taken place, both physical and in some of the process developments. We have a hotel going up I'm pointing in the wrong direction over there. The first hotel in many years in University City. We have apartment buildings that have gone up on Delmar. We have one being built in the Loop. We have new police station and facilities being upgraded. That's a busy 8 years. That's a busy 8 years for not just you, but for the team that you've assembled. It is, I have to believe, one of the more productive times in the history of this community. We have also seen, to Councilman Smotherson's point, what I have to believe is the most comprehensive community engagement process that we have seen in this city, and that was through the Third Ward revitalization process. If Third Ward citizens were not engaged in that process, it is because they elected not to be. And that's something I'm very proud of. And that's something that this administration brought forward. And we are looking to see the fruits of that. City Manager Rose, I've not listed everything. And that's what's extraordinary. I've not listed everything that's happened. But I think that certainly what I have listed speaks to the steady hand that you have provided these many years, you with your team. And I thank you. And like Councilmember McMahon, look forward to you starting this next chapter in your life.
Thank you very much. Any other members of council? Councilmember Brenner.
First, before I say anything about Mr. Rose, I just wanted to say a couple of comments. I've been contemplating the MSD thing since we had the presentation, and I just want to say a few things out loud so that we keep these things in our head. You know, I don't think I'm completely satisfied with I know we all kind of see this as as the done deal, but I'm not completely satisfied with how they presented it and why so many properties, and if there were any other alternatives. I at least get an explanation of why they thought this was the best case scenario for that. The second thing is the land that they will deed back to us. They talked about parks, but they didn't say that it's possible that we could rebuild on any of that land. And I think that's something we need to also zone in on a little bit further, because perhaps it will be things that could be redeveloped. And then last, there was the surface level sewers. I think we need to keep our eye on that, because they kind of said that's going to be even more disruptive. And I don't know what that meant. It was a little ominous. So we need to keep our eyes on that also going forward. So those were some things that were just percolating over time on that. And Mr. Rose, I'm the newest member. I've been with you the least amount of time out of everybody. So I'll make this short since it was a short amount of time. But first of all, I just really appreciate your patience with me and your kindness as I learned the ropes. You were very helpful. You always answered my questions. And then also just thank you for your steady hand. I appreciate your ethics and the dedication to professionalism, and you can really see how that seeps in with everybody else. So thank you.
Councilmember Fuller.
All right, I'm the old man on the council. Retirement's good. You're going to enjoy it. I'm working harder now than I did when I worked. But a brief scenario, and I had this brought down to me this morning. This morning, my neighbor had a medical incident. He's been my neighbor for the last 40 years. And I had not a worry, because I looked down the street and our ambulance service was right there. Sitting in front of my house is one of our police officers. I remember a time when we had ambulance service sitting in Heman Park. And that was scary. Not only did we have ambulance service sitting in City Park, we had folks manning those ambulances that were not of the quality of our fire and rescue folks. I know that you you had a lot to do with that. That was one of my major reasons for running for office unsuccessfully years ago, but why I wanted to be on here. I really thank you for all that you provided for us. Ditto to what all these folks have said tonight. But we are a community that is an aging community, and those services were very dear to me because of all my neighbors. And I want to thank you for being part of that. And good luck in the retirement.
Well, as we wind down this evening, we go back to 2017 when a group of us got to interview Gregory. It's interesting to everyone, hopefully in the room, is that Gregory entered our community at a very pivotal point in our city. At that point in time, without a doubt, we had a crisis in trust, management, and political rancor. Three phrases which no longer describe our community: trust, management, and political rancor. Gregory has brought to this position integrity, principles, and honesty. We got him from Maricopa. He came back for a second tour. He said that University City was his second home for he and his wife, Sonia. His daughter was born here. We're glad that he has been a part of our life and he has allowed us to be a part of his. He grew up in Jefferson, Texas when his father passed away. While you were in high school, you guys had moved to Dallas, Texas, I believe. You then moved forward to get a bachelor's and a master's in public administration from the University of Texas at Dallas. You truly helped to transform our community over the past 9 years. From east to west, north to south, all with little to no fanfare on any given day. You were methodical and fair-handed to each and every one of us. You led us through, as we all say, 2 floods and a tornado, and we've made it through. If anything, tonight, the citizen survey should be one of those moments for you that says that you have done and continue to do a good job and have been an effective leader and a true value to our community. When you get into public service, at least one of the things I was brought up, that our goal is always to say that we leave the place better than we found it. And without a doubt, you can rest assured that you have left our community far better than when you found it. Thank you so much for your service to our community. We wish you the best of luck. I'm going to miss my partner up here. Now, if we could, I would ask that there be a motion to go into closed session according to Missouri Revised Statute 610.021, legal actions, causes of action, or litigation involving a public governmental body and any confidential privileged communications between that public governmental body or its representatives or attorneys and individually identifiable personnel records, performance ratings, or records pertaining to employees. Is there such a motion? Motion made by Councilmember McMahon. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Fuller. Is there discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Brenner,
Aye.
Councilmember Fuller,
Aye.
Councilmember Smotherson, Councilmember Clay,
Aye.
Councilmember McMahon,
Aye.
Mayor Crowe.
Aye.